Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Today we're doing a shootout comparison of two highly rated one-step abrasive products, and they are Scholl S20 Black and Sonax Perfect Finish. Which one's going to come out on top? So welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Good to see you all again. Today we're doing a comparison of Sonax Perfect Finish and Scholl S20 Black one-stage compound. Now both these products are what I would categorise as a single stage or one-step compound. What do we mean by that? Well, both the products are capable of delivering a fair amount of cut at the start of the working set, which is handy for defect removal and taking out sanding marks and all that sort of stuff. But they're also capable of delivering you a high gloss final finish. Could these products be used in multiple stage kind of polishing with other products? Well, potentially yes. There might be some scenarios where you've gone in with a heavy compound and there's you just want a little bit more cut than a finishing polish will do, and you've only literally got time for kind of a cutting set and then a polishing set afterwards. So you could go in with something like this after a heavy compound set and still get some refining with a little bit more cut than a finishing polish would give you. So there's that kind of scenario. There's obviously the one stage scenario where you use them on their own, and when you're using them as on their own, really if you start getting into the territory of multiple sets with them, they become less efficient because of the fact that you are repeating exactly what you did before. Lots of cut at the start and a very high finish. Well, then once you've delivered that high finish, you are kind of cutting that out again at the start of the next set rather than just kind of refining the finish that's already been given. So there's issues around efficiency when you start doing multiple sets with them, but this is getting into micromanagement and perhaps thinking too much about all these things. Could you also just use them as a cutting compound and then refine after them? Yeah, you could actually. On certain softer paintworks, the level of cut that you can work out of these products, and that cut will vary depending on what type of polisher and pads you use and your technique and all that sort of stuff. But there might be examples where they can be used as your cutting compound when you don't have that much defects to remove on soft paint, and then if you really want to go the extra mile, you could refine after them. But the level of gloss that these products leave is pretty impressive, that you'll be putting a lot of extra time in to do that extra polishing set for not a lot of gains. So overall summary of that is that for me they're probably best used as single stage products. Right, first criteria that we're marking on, cut. And this is my opinion on using both of them, guys. But for me, the winner in this particular test of which one delivers the most cut was the Perfect Finish. I'm basing that more on the test panel, the test hood I've got over there, you know, the scrapyard test panel, if you like. Let's not big it up too much. That was covered from various other things I've done in different areas of different grade of grit and scratching that I've put in the panels, and also some big areas of P2000 wet sanding haze. The Sonax Perfect Finish coped with it the most. It seems to me that at the start of the set, maybe between the sort of first 15 to 25 seconds, there is a tremendous amount of cut with this product, and then you start to see it go a bit more translucent. You can even see the gloss come up through the lubrication system, which is nice. It raised the temperature of the panel slightly more than the S20, but it actually got rid of more of the defects. On the rotary polisher, you can totally unlock all that cut, and you can get the most out of that cut at the start of the set. And it's almost like, it's not quite a heavy cutting compound, it's not quite that aggressive, but it's not far off it, but it breaks down very quickly. But in short, Perfect Finish won that particular test for me, and which one has the most cut. The next one, finishing. Right, so what did we do here? We used this test panel down here, which you know, you've seen these in lots of particular videos, and we did a fixed test where we used the products on the rotary for 1 minute at speed 4 on the compact dual action polisher, which is reasonably high speed, but with a 4-inch pad. And in that particular test, the Sonax Perfect Finish, if I just take the average gloss readings that it provided on the rotary, Perfect Finish delivered 96.7, 96.2, 95.9, 95.6 and 96. Scholl S20 delivered 94.3, 95.1, 94.2, 94.2 and 94.3. So there was a clear difference there of probably about, at least probably over 1.5 gloss units different with the rotary. We then did the same tests on the dual action polisher, and the results, this was a different calibration set, so the overall gloss readings are lower, but that doesn't mean that the dual action polisher is delivering less gloss. It's just a different calibration set, so the results are different, but they're the same calibration set for the dual action test, so that's very important. Perfect Finish delivered 94.4, 94.3, 94.9, 95.2, 95.1. Scholl S20 Black delivered 93.4, 92.8, 93.0, 93.3, 93.5. So again, that's similar, roughly about 1.5, somewhere up to 1.5 and 2 gloss units different in finish, and that is significant. And just as a little sanity check, I then swapped sides and used the Perfect Finish afterwards. I hadn't filmed it because it slows me down filming everything, and just used the Perfect Finish on the right side and the Scholl S20 on the left, and the gloss, you know, transferred over on the readings about 1.5 to 1.2 more for Perfect Finish. So that's enough for me. You will not be able to see the difference, 1.2 or 1.5 gloss units. Your eyes will never spot that, but it's been consistently there now in 3 tests and transferred across. So for me, Perfect Finish has won the finish test with a pretty impressive amount of gloss, actually. So next up, we're going to talk about working times. I've just zoomed the camera out so you can see all my face, although that's probably not a good thing for you guys. Working times. Now, Sonax Perfect Finish has been developed very specifically to be used on a rotary polisher. In their Profiline range, as it's called, they have a set of products, and most of them are specified that they're used for rotary. And in that range, they have a couple of products, or one product that's been developed for use on a dual action polisher, which is interesting. Because when I talked about them in the finishing polish video, guy, you know, filled me in with lots of good information on them. I've said in other videos that most of these products, these abrasives, you really should be able to use them however you like on different machines and all that sort of stuff. That might be a little bit disrespectful to the intent of the guy that developed it. Well, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here, but basically Sonax Perfect Finish has been designed to be used in a very specific way, where you work it hard and you put a little bit of tilt and lean and pressure for that first 20 seconds, I think, of the set. Then after that, you go back horizontal, work it for another 20 to 30 seconds with probably a little bit less pressure and a rotational speeds of around sort of 900 to 1200, I think they advise. And that's it, you're done. So sort of really between a 40 and 60 second set, something like that. And that is your final finish delivered, as well as being able to cut out all of the sanding marks and all that sort of stuff. So that's how it's been developed, and Jesus, it does that well. I tell you, you can really unlock the cut when you work this on a rotary with a bit of pressure. And it can take it, you know, it can take it. You can overwork it as well, and we're going to talk about dusting and all that sort of stuff a little bit later on. But the working time of this is more than adequate for how quickly it delivers you the cut and the finish. If you want a longer working time with it, you know, there are reasons why you might want to just keep going a little bit longer, especially with a dual action polisher or something like that. If you're really trying to sort of bring up gloss, you could do. But on the rotary, it delivers its final finish kind of gloss level at the speeds they say within about 40 to 60 seconds. So there you go. Where am I going with all this? Scholl S20 Black has a thicker lubrication system in it, an oilier lubrication system. Now, both of these products have amazing carrier systems in them. The older school abrasives, when you start working them and you start heating them up, you know, the compounds, if you like, that deliver a bit of cut, typically at some point you go from the point where you see the abrasive trailing properly behind the pad to it actually kind of the carrier kind of drying up, the water-based element of it. And when that happens, you start lifting the product off of the panel, you start clogging up your pad, and you start dry buffing. Both of these products, it's amazing how long you can work them for before that ever happens. In fact, you can just keep going and going and going. To get them to dry out like that, you would have to absolutely hammer them and completely misuse them. So their carrier systems are fantastic. And in this instance, I really can't separate them from their work by working times. So they both get the green star there. From using Scholl S20, perhaps more than Perfect Finish, you probably could work it a little bit harder for longer if you wanted to. So maybe there is a leaning over to S20 Black on that. The next category, dusting, which is kind of related to working time. Both these products kind of talk about low dusting formulas, and both of them deliver on it. They deliver on it slightly different ways. As I'm working the the Sonax Perfect Finish, it's a lot lighter and more translucent. And when you go through that cutting phase into the finishing phase, you're actually seeing the gloss come up under the abrasive, which is usual to see. So it's got a very kind of clear carrier in it, this particular product, very clever carrier. And nice, got a plane dive bombing overhead, wait for that to disappear. With the Sonax Perfect Finish, as I was working it beyond that kind of initial cut phase where it starts really breaking down and giving you the finish, I was expecting it at some point, because it seemed lighter and more thinner, less oily kind of carrier. I expected the carrier to give out on me quicker than S20, and it doesn't. It keeps going. The carrier in Perfect Finish is very, very clever. So again, with dusting, I was expecting Scholl S20 to particularly outperform it on this, but it didn't. Neither of these products, basically, they are about as good as it gets when it comes to, you know, the potential for them to dust up on you. Light years ahead of some other abrasives that are a bit older. They've really made good progress with that now. You can work the hell out of these and they will just keep going. So I couldn't separate the products, or I couldn't find a preference between one dusting and the other one not dusting. Next criteria, price or value for money. So Scholl S20 Black comes in at around between about 31 and 35 quid if you shop around a little bit, which is, at 35 it's a little bit more expensive. 30 quid is like the benchmark for a litre of good quality abrasives for me. And they're all in that sort of little window, so it's on point. It's not cheap, you know. There's body shops that will laugh at me if I tell them I've spent 35 quid on a bottle of abrasives, but I like the good abrasives. You know, there's the things I'm talking about that these products deliver are quite sophisticated and they're ahead of the game. So, you know, I don't mind paying a bit more for those. So let's say 31 to 34 quid for S20 Black. This stuff is typically around about 44 to 45 quid. You can get it a little bit cheaper in some places. Now that is a significant premium on top of a premium abrasive already. And that is the big Achilles heel of Perfect Finish and these Sonax abrasives generally, the Profiline range. Now the price is the price. I don't need to explain too much about the significance of that extra price, because you'll have your own opinions on it. It is quality, there's no doubt about that. This is a Ferrari of an abrasive, it really is. I just wish it was a little bit cheaper. I could understand like 10 or 20% on top of all of the other market leading ones, but an extra 50%, that just puts a little doubt in my mind, and it just makes me question whether I would, you know, hand the money over for it, and if it's giving me enough to make me want to justify that extra cost. Like I say, I wish it was like 36 or 37 quid, because it would be less of an issue. So the price is the price, you can't skirt around that. So Sonax Scholl S20 wins the value for money by a significant margin. Next up in this test, we're talking about versatility. So how easy are these products to incorporate into the way you polish cars? You know, that's what I'm getting at here. Could you literally take this product, use it on wool, use it on microfiber, use it on a dual action, use it on forced rotation, use it on a rotary, use it with your specific technique, rather than just use it the way the manufacturer tells you? And this is a real hard one, again, to gauge, because, nice sniff there for you, sorry. Why is this hard to gauge? Because I think to get the most out of the cut, probably with both these products, but perhaps more so with Perfect Finish, you need to work them hard at the start of the set. And Perfect Finish delivers that cut so well on a rotary polisher. It's kind of almost incredible, the amount of cut and the amount of finish that it can deliver you. And not only that, how quickly it can deliver it to you. But I think to unlock it, to unlock all of its capability, you do need to use it the way Sonax describe. However, it still works really well on the dual action polisher. It works well on the dual action polisher and still delivered me a little bit more cut and a higher gloss finish than the Scholl. The only thing is, the Scholl just seems, when I use the dual action polisher and I'm not really using much pressure or anything like that, I'm just letting the machine kind of work slower, you know, over the panel, making sure it's virtually spinning at top whack to get the most out of it. The Scholl just seemed to allow me to go a little bit longer with that, but the knock-on effect was I was probably doing less cutting. So even with the dual action, really, if you want to get the most out of the cut, you've got to get a bit of pressure going on the flat panels. So I don't know really, guys, with this one, versatility. I think I'm probably going to lean towards the Scholl S20, because I know you can work the hell out of that. Might be a little bit unfair, but let's do it. Not too important, that one. Finally, removal. So this is important to me, especially when you're using these products all the time, buffing them off panel, using them, buffing them off panel, using them, buffing off the panel. How they come off the panel can almost be as important as how they are to work and all that, although it's not. But if a product is difficult to remove, that is the biggest, it's a huge turn off, that is, from using it. And Scholl S20, I loved using it because even though you could work it for a long time, I always found it was quite easy to remove. You definitely need to degrease after you've used any of these products, but Scholl S20, like I've said, very thicker kind of lubrication system on it. The winner of this actual test, I need to get to the point a bit quicker, is Sonax Perfect Finish. For me, it comes off the panel easier. And one thing you can do is, if you overwork these particular products, and I'm talking about abrasives in general here, some of these heavier compounds with the capability to cut can bed into the panel, where you see most of it come off and you see a little patch that's really kind of like bedded in. If you do that, you're overworking them, okay? That's a bit of user error, but I do. So there you go. I can do that with S20 if I overwork it, get these little patches that are hard to remove. I haven't been able to kind of do that with Perfect Finish, even when I've gone bananas with it. It's very light, like I say, and very easy to get off the panel. So I think it's just edged the kind of removal test for me. Okay, so the final conclusions, guys. So this is the difficult bit. Which one is the winner? Which one am I going to be recommending? The winner is Sonax Perfect Finish. Before I go on to talk about that, I want to just talk about Scholl S20 Black. So whenever you do these videos where you're doing sort of like a comparison of two and providing a recommendation, it's almost like you're giving this a bad rap by saying this one's better. There's more to it than that. this is a product that I've recommended to a hell of a lot of people, and I will still potentially recommend it to a hell of a lot of people. There are certain things about it which are better than the Sonax Perfect Finish. The value for money is a massive thing. It's, for some people, the difference in price will just make this unviable. And if you want a viable one-step product that's priced around about where it should be in the premium end of the market, then S20 Black, I can highly recommend it. Really good, thick, heavy lubrication system in it, a decent amount of cut at the start of the set, and a very acceptable level of finish. So it is an exceptional premium one-stage product. So why has Perfect Finish won? Well, it's all the things that we've talked about in this video. What has really impressed me the most, there's a few things that have impressed me very much, but the thing that's really impressed me the most is the level of finish that this product gives. It gives a higher level of gloss, I believe, than the S20 Black from the testing that I've done, and a significant increase as well, to the point where there is very little difference between this and a finishing polish. I still think I'm almost tempted to do some more tests. I might do them after I've shot this video, but I think this is getting up there with the level of finish that a finishing polish can deliver you. So that's one of the biggest cool things about it. But the other cool thing about it is how quickly it gets you there. Now, for me, this product comes alive on the rotary, where you can unlock the cut a little bit more. And you can unlock the cut very quickly at the start of the set with a bit of pressure, like they say, and you know, you can take out heavy sanding marks very rapidly, and then deliver that high gloss finish at the same time. You could do that with the S20 Black, but it just struggled to get the kind of as much out as this did with using the same method. So you might just have to go a little bit longer with the S20 Black. As well as that kind of performance difference there, I think it's slightly better on removal than the S20 Black, but there's not much in it. It's still an easy product to deliver, but this is a little bit kind of lighter. The carrier system is incredible, very clever. Some other observations which are relevant to this: overheating the panels. So when you're delivering that much cut very quickly, you want to be mindful of how much you're raising the temperature of the particular panel, and by cranking up, you know, to pretty high speeds on the rotary and using pretty high levels of pressure to take out that sanding marks, I only raised the temperature up to 110 Fahrenheit. So it was warm. You know, you can, whenever you're cutting rapidly, you're going to raise the temperature rapidly, but it wasn't up into that window where you get up to sort of like 140 or 150 Fahrenheit, or you raise the temperature, like Ivan LaCroix said, by 80 very rapidly. We were raising by around 50 quite rapidly. So there were no buffer trails in that paintwork that I can see at the moment, and they're not there. There aren't going to be any. And also, you are kind of refining out as well more towards the end of the set, so the temperature will get raised very reasonably rapidly at the start, and then you won't be kind of, as the product breaks down, you're not going to be kind of raising that temperature any further. So you can use it quite aggressively at quite reasonable speeds on the rotary, still deliver yourself a lot of cut, but you can be safe and out of that margin where you're going to install buffer trails on the product, which makes it a very easy product to use as well. Part of the success of these products is taking away some of the risks that come with doing this, like buffer trails and stuff like that. So very clever. So overall, you know, before shooting this video, I'd ruled out Sonax Perfect Finish, just basically because it was too expensive. After shooting this video, you know, there's good products out there, and Scholl S20 Black is a very good product, but this stuff is literally liquid gold, and it is so good. It's almost, well, it's getting into that category of game changer with what it can deliver you and in the time frames that it can deliver you. So it is literally liquid gold, perfect finish. The only downside is the price is almost like liquid gold as well, but I would buy it. It'd be with a slight wince, but I would use this stuff. It is a phenomenal product, very easy to use, and I don't think there's really any negatives beyond the price tag. That is Sonax Perfect Finish. I'll link both these abrasives in the description with a place you can get them, and I think I've got discount codes for those places as well, so I'll put those in where you can knock 10% off the price of it as well, which is going to help. So I hope I've done this fairly, guys. I'm really interested in your opinions on these products. There's some great comments come in, especially on these abrasive products where guys have been using these for years and they can add stuff. So let me know your thoughts on both of these products, and if you think I've done a kind of fair job in the review. It's done with good intent to try and give you some good information. So I hope you like it. That was the one stage shootout comparison video, guys, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel for more detailing content. Bye for now.